So how did you figure out like this was it?
I got some advice from a friend of mine who has been very successful. She was actually one of my college roommates, and it was at this point in time where I was going to be making a pretty big career shift, becoming president of a small brand. And you know, I was hemming and hawing about taking the title of president. Like, I don't deserve that. I've never done that before. I should take a smaller title because maybe that's more fair to the organization, etc. And my friend said, Mariah, you should always go after and take the most ambitious, biggest thing that is offered to you that you can, and you should fight for it. And those are words that stay with me, because the reality is, do you really want to do a job that you've already done?
Mariah, thank you so much for just, having us here. Having me here. This is amazing. First of all, how are you?
I haven't had really an opportunity to sit on this couch since we bought it from IKEA for about $99, so I really feel like we're baptizing it today.
That's good. I feel that's a good first, right? Sinking into the couch.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
No,
Thank you for coming to Eloquii and our glamorous digs in Long Island City.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to be here, especially with, what Eloquii is doing with the fashion brand in the fashion industry, and then you as a woman as well. There's not a lot of us that are taking the reins of fashion companies, believe it or not, especially with women being the number one consumers. So thank you for just, being, relaxed and
We're gonna chat.
We're gonna chat, right?
We're gonna chat,
Okay.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, let's take it, from the first time, your first job. What was that?
Oh my gosh, my first job where I got a real paycheck, or for the 10 years that I babysat. I actually considered putting those 10 years of babysitting on my resume, because it was like,
It was experience, yeah.
Changed a lot of diapers. My first real job was working in a shoe store when I was 16.
Wow.
And I ran up and down a very narrow flight of stairs to the shoes. Shoes are heavy, right? Shoe boxes are heavy. And I really got an incredible workout that summer. And I smelled a lot of feet. I really
I'm sure,
did.
yeah.
They were expensive shoes I was selling. And I was like, the feet do not smell better, even if they're buying expensive shoes.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was a shoe store.
So then so you've always been in fashion now?
I have. When I was in college, I studied history and economics. I can't say I'm really putting that to too much use. Yeah, but my grandmother was a real lady. She got dressed for dinner, and she wore Chanel No. 5, and she really, you could tell when she put clothing on that it meant something to her. Yeah. And I was really enamored with that, and I started sketching as a little girl. I mean, horribly, right? But and I wrote a 30-page paper on Coco Chanel when I was 13.
30 page?
I mean, it was a lot. There were some pictures.
There was pictures. Okay.
There was some arts and crafts involved, but yeah, I loved the idea of the change and transformation that something as simple as getting dressed could actually give to someone.
Right. So yeah, how did you end up from, communications to now here?
Yeah, it's a slightly unorthodox path, right? A lot of people in fashion and retail who end up becoming CEO come through a merchandising path, right? That's kind of the original sort of known route. I fell into communications. When I graduated from college, I thought I'm either going to be an investment banker or I'm going to be a backup dancer to Britney Spears.
I'm not mad at that.
Because I love to dance as a dancer. And then somehow, I don't know that fashion was anywhere in the middle, but I obviously didn't pursue either of those paths, but I was truly considering and working towards each of them.
Right.
And I ended up in communications through a complete fluke, through a friend. And it was communications in the fashion field. And I worked at an agency. I worked at a couple of agencies, and I was amazed by, I think in hindsight, how much I learned about the actual businesses for the companies that I was representing, right? The clients that I had, which included John Hardy, Jimmy Choo, Skechers, Cole Haan, Le Sportsac, Anya Hindmarch, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I had a tremendous amount of direct access to the founders and leaders of those companies. And if you listen, you learn a lot.
Oh yeah.
And so I loved that piece of it. Yeah. But how did I get here?
Yeah, how did you get here? Because I mean, you
Still
love
unclear.
passion.
I would say that I am a very ambitious person with very few goals. So I'm always, I got a fire in the belly.
Was
right?
like
But
what direction to put it in?
I was really open. I didn't have I've never had a prescription of, by this time in my life, I need to be doing X, Y, and Z. I need to have X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And so I was given more and more leadership roles. And as an ambitious person, you're like, well, that's right. That's what I want. And so I just kept going for the leadership roles. Aren't you? When we're hiring here, I don't want to hire people who have already done a job we're hiring them to do. Right? We want people who are really smart, ambitious, have a lot of ownership, like to laugh, like dogs, and who are ready to grow. And so that advice helped me make a pretty significant career tack that I just went for it, right? You know,
Yeah.
amen to Nike, just do it, I just did it. And it was pretty imperfect, right? Like I
Right.
failed a lot, but it was what gave me enough confidence to say, no, I actually can do something like this. And I'm gonna, and failure is just part and parcel.
Looking back, and you've made, you know, you've went from digital communications to here, and then you telling me about, you know, not really, you know, being so ambitious. What do you say you would, you know, advice you would tell your younger self? Because I know there's a lot of women out there who is just like, I have this passion and I have this ambition, but I don't know quite where do I fit? Where should I direct it to? So what would you say?
First of all, I would say perfection is the death of creation, right? So avoid perfection at all costs. And if perfection is getting in the way, really the idea of it, try to get rid of it and just go.
Yeah.
Really just go. And then shoot higher than you possibly think you can. I remember at one point working within an agency, there was a conversation about one of our clients, and someone said, I don't understand how that person is the CEO, blah, 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 blah. Wow. And you know, we having a moment, and my boss at the time said, well, they're the CEO because they say they're the CEO. That's what their title is.
That's right.
Right? And so if you say that you are going to do something and you are that, and you're doing that, then that's the way people are going to respond to you. It may take time for you to grow into it. That's okay. No one's been president before.
True.
Right? Unless they're reelected.
Yeah.
Right? But like most people most presidents walk into that Oval Office for the first time, and it's the first time. So have less fear.
Yeah. I kind of see it as, you know, fake it till you make it. Kind of, you know, I mean, that's how I would do. Like, you know, not so much you want to fake it, but of course, you're still learning, but you still want to make sure, like, you know what, owning it. I think it comes down to like owning it. Like, you know what, I'm trying my best, I'm still learning, but I'm low-key faking. We're going to fake it till we make it type of thing.
I also think that it's helpful to feel comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Like in the startup space, you are consistently uncomfortable because things are constantly in a state of flux, and at first that can be incredibly unsettling, and so I think it's almost like you've got to brainwash yourself, like, no, feeling uncomfortable is the new normal, and it's okay.
Yeah, I think we have to start talking about that. It's okay to feel uncomfortable, because I feel like we just like, sometimes we as people get complacent, but definitely I agree with, definitely getting into being uncomfortable. Now, you as a Harvard graduate, what do you say that being CEO of Eloquii has taught you that Harvard hasn't?
Everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Harvard.
Right.
I had an amazing time, met incredible people, but as I said, I studied history and economics, and what Eloquii has taught me, and I think what business really teaches people, is about people.
Right.
And business, more than anything else, is about people. And those skills are very hard to teach. It's a little bit de facto, needs to be baptism by fire. And so I would say, from a pure skills perspective, empowering people, leading people, motivating, developing people is very hard work, and not something that they teach a lot of classes on in school. Yeah. And Eloquii, there's a lot of that at Eloquii that I've learned.
But let's talk about people. We know your customer, I'm saying our customer base, like I'm a part of Eloquii. Your customer base is predominantly, it's women.
Yes.
So you as a woman, being the CEO of a company, there's not just, gender inequality just in all industries, but in fashion especially.
Yeah.
So as a CEO, what are you doing to tackle that? Because you're working for the people. The people are working for you, but you as a leader are essentially working for them.
I want balance. Yeah. Right. That, I think, is the most important thing for all businesses, really, if I can be totally prescriptive here. Balance delivers, not only is it right, not only does it feel good, but it delivers better results.
Yeah.
Because the customer base overall, when you look at the United States, is incredibly diverse. And that diversity across gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, ways of thinking, however you might think about diversity, needs to be represented.
True. Let's finish this sentence for me. This time next year, Eloquii is...
This time next year, Eloquii is popping with some new stores.
Ooh, I like that. Popping with some new stores and some collabs, right?
And some collabs.
So let's talk about that. You have a few collabs coming up.
So we have one that we're super excited about with Cosabella, which is an amazing high-end Italian lingerie company, and we are taking their size range and their designs to places that they've never gone before. And I just saw the photography for the lookbook shoot, and it's pretty gorgeous.
Oh, man.
So we're really excited about that. Yeah.
And then what about Jason Wu? Can we talk about that? Or I know you guys did release a collection last year.
So we have a bigger one coming for a March. They call it a drop.
Okay.
Drop collection.
Stuff.
Yeah, we like mic drop. We're mic dropping Jason Wu, and it is beautiful. That's all of the details I'm giving away.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
and then there's more throughout the rest of the year.
Okay.
I can't talk about those yet.
Okay.
The marketing team would have my head.
We don't want that.
They're a scary group.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. Especially if they're working hard too. We don't.
No, they're the best. Yeah.
So tell me, where will you be this time next year? Finish that sentence for me. Mariah Chase, where will you be this time next year?
It's January 11th in 2020. I think I'll be sitting right in that chair.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, maybe we'll be hanging out
We'll
again.
maybe do a year review.
Yeah, I think I'll be pretty much same gig, more stores, bigger team, exciting new plans that I don't even know about yet. And hopefully hanging with some customers.
Yeah.
We love to have customers come up to the office.
Oh.
So we have an open dog policy. We also have an open customer policy. So as long as a customer lets us know, like I'm thinking about swinging by, so we love that.
Oh, well, say no more. I mean,
Hello, we could do a fitting.
We'll do that after.
Yeah. No, but truly, we do fittings.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That's amazing. What makes Eloquii so different from other brands? There's now, I see a lot of upcoming brands now. You have Lane Bryant. There's just so many. What makes Eloquii different?
Well, I would agree to disagree that there are so many.
Okay.
Right. So
I would say there's more than I would say. More. Yeah, you're right. There's more than, let's say, 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And I might be biased, but I like to think Eloquii's relaunch had something to do with sort of pushing and opening the door and saying it's safe and it's okay for these other brands to step up their game or enter the market or launch. What separates Eloquii from our perspective is that we are fashion first for this customer, and from day one we have said and believe and take initiatives as though we are a fashion brand that happens to start at a size 14, right? Whereas I think many other brands in this space say, oh, we're a plus brand and now let's add some fashion elements. So we always have thought about the trends and the design, the photography, the marketing, the language, the relationship with the customer centered around this love of fashion and the power that fashion has to transform the way you interact with the world. I go back to this thinking about my grandmother. And that's, I would say, probably the core difference.
Yeah. And what about entrepreneurs? You said you've worked with a lot of women entrepreneurs. Advice to them that are, they have the passion, they want to start their clothing line, but they don't know that next step. They don't know how to put it together.
Talk to as many people as you can.
Yeah.
Build your network. You will have no shame. You will be asking for a zillion favors. That's okay. That's normal. Read a ton and just start. You're never going to be prepared enough. Yeah, I'm not prepared enough for next week. I don't know what next week holds, but I can guarantee you I'm not prepared enough for next week. You're never going to be prepared enough. So take it from Nike. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This was great.